Tonight, as we gather in the gentle glow of candlelight, our hearts unite in solidarity against one of the most insidious blights in our society, domestic violence. We stand together to remember those who have suffered in silence, those whose voices were suppressed by fear, and those whose lives were tragically cut short by the hands of those who were meant to love and protect them. Domestic violence is not just a number or a news headline, it's a harsh reality for far too many people. It's the silent suffering of those who endure physical, emotional, sexual and psychological abuse behind closed doors. It's the fear that grips the heart of survivors, trapping them in a cycle of violence and control. It's the shattered dreams, broken spirits and those who have lost their lives to this senseless brutality. Our vigil tonight is not just about remembrance and reflection, it is also a call to action. We must not remain silent bystanders in the face of the injustice. We must speak out against domestic violence in all its forms, challenging the attitudes, systems that perpetrate it. We must advocate for better education, action and support services. We must ensure we take a preventative approach for our children to understand intergenerational cycles of domestic violence. I want to go on a shadowed realm that often escapes the spotlight. The beginning with coercive control. This insidious tactic often goes unrecognised. Tasmania was the first jurisdiction with specific offences that addressed coercive and controlling behaviours. Under the Family Law Act, it had a slow uptake. Within the first 3 years, there was no charges laid. As a state, we are getting better, but there's still some work to do. Last week, someone came to me in fear and distress. They shared with me a voice message they received telling them that they were dead. They cried to me that they couldn't report it. They were too scared, and this person had access to guns. Sadly, fear of reporting is a common occurrence. Eventually, this person trusted me to call the police. This call led to another worker hanging up, then giving me the phone the second time to request support. This resulted in me having to ask to talk to a supervisor repeatedly. I was told the first responder was not an officer. This person had no sensitivity. The supervisor told me the person I had called with concerns about had multiple family violence orders against them. I was told my client would get a response, but there was 153 jobs in front. They were thankfully received a quicker response, but it's not good enough. Coercive control in family violence contexts describes a pattern of abusive behaviour designed to exercise domination and control. It may also be described as entrapment. It renders its victims hostage. This harm inflicts on dignity, liberty, autonomy and personhood, as well as physical and psychological identity. It is often the process that happens slowly over time, and it's so nuanced in nature, it's difficult to identify. In terms of impacts, coercive control has been referred to intimate terrorism, and it's been reported by victim survivors as one of the worst parts. One of the challenges in defining coercive control is its relevant behaviours are deeply contextual. The triggers of fear and intimidation and enabled control may be so frequent and subtle they're not evident from outside the relationship. 12 signs of coercive control: isolation, monitoring activity, denying freedoms, gaslighting, name-calling, limiting access to money and finances, expectations around domestic duties, accusations, regulating sexual relationships, threatening to take your pets or your children away, or turning your children against you. My journey through the darkness of domestic violence began when I was 14, after being a victim of childhood sexual abuse. He saw me coming. He told me he was 18, the reality when we met he was 21. By that time, I was coerced into a relationship. I became entangled into a web of fear and control, 25 years of family violence, 5 police family violence orders. Later, a stark reminder of a relentless cycle of abuse that defined my existence. Seeking refuge, I fled to Tasmania with my children, clinging to the hope of a better life for us. Stepping onto a uni campus for the first time after remote learning, I earned my master's degree, defining the stereotype.
Woo!
Even in my triumph, the abuse loomed. In 2022, my ex abducted my daughter as a pawn in a cruel game for his reconciliation. I pleaded for her return, desperate to reunite my shattered family. "Aren't I your family?" he callously retorted, a painful reminder of manipulation and control that continued to plague my life. Post-separation is very real. Post-separation abuse. It's harrowing. I've learnt this firsthand. Its scars run deep. I hope the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia law amendments that are happening on the 6th of May do really recognise the impact of family violence and its devastating effects on its families, and as its current form does not work. It allows the perpetrator to use the system to continue to abuse the most vulnerable. To anybody that's going through domestic violence, I encourage you to seek help. People care. Nobody has to go through that experience by themselves. Please come forward. I stand here not alone, but with the girls from Shark Cage, a group that is run for victims of DVs. These girls designed my shirt. Woo! I have so much admiration for these ladies here standing with me. They have taught me that you're defined by your courage to take back your power. And the girls, they're hiding in their thing here. You amaze me and I'm so proud of you. To those who have lost loved ones to domestic violence, we offer our deepest condolences and unwavering support. Your loved ones will never, ever be forgotten, because their memories will ensure that we work tirelessly to remove this from our society. Thank you.
Yeah.